Hi, welcome back to our Zoom live session number 4. So today we are going to look at assumption method. Now this 1 hour session is going to be like a workshop. All right. So whatever I will talk about in the workshop will be mentioned inside this 1 hour lesson. So in other words, you don't have to go for workshop already because this 1 hour is the workshop. Okay, so assumption method is something that many students are very confused. They don't quite know how to use the method. So in this 1 hour lesson, I want to make it simple, right? I want to make it clear for everyone to understand so that they know how to use the assumption method. Okay, so let's read the question and we highlight the important words. Pencil boxes. Okay, let me just let me use a red color or blue color. Okay, now pencil boxes cost $15 each. Calculators cost $24 each. And Kelly bought a total of 100 pencil boxes and calculators. Now, this is a very important number, a very important value that you must have that in order to use assumption. You must have the total number of items in order to assume. And there is also a total money that she spends. So when you do assumption, we have to look out for certain clues. Clues like total number, right? Total number to assume, and also the total amount, right? We need these two totals to do assumption. And also you must have two kinds of things to assume. So for example, you have pencil boxes and you also have calculators. So there are two kinds of things here. So in some questions, when you have three kinds of things, you can't do assumption. You need at least you need two types of things to assume. So if there are three types of things, you will have to remove one of them in order to do assumption. All right, so again, let me just clarify again. To use the method, you have to look out for some clues. You have to look out for two totals. The first one is the total number of items, and the second one is the total amounts of money. All right, later on, you will see why you need these two totals. And how many pencil boxes did she buy? Okay, so like what I mentioned earlier, when you use any method, there is a process. All right, there's a process that you have to go through. So you don't really have to think very hard to solve the problem. So you go through the process. So the first step is to assume. Okay, that's why we use the method called assumption. Assume. You assume all. Now, the word all means the total. And one of the very common mistakes that students make is they assume the total, which is the all, for the amounts of money. So they assume all the money, what? Okay, now, so for the first common mistake, which I mentioned just now, there are two totals. So students make the common mistake of putting the wrong total. They put the total money as all. But what is all? All is the total number of items. So assume all the items are the opposite of what the question asks you, which is calculators. All right, so we always teach our students, or we always tell them, okay, when you always assume the opposite of what the question asks you. Now, if you say that the total, the all is $2,130, it doesn't make sense. Like if you put the money into the sentence, assume $2,130 are calculators, it doesn't make sense. How can money become calculators? That's why you know that it's wrong. So you assume the total number of items are calculators, which is your 100 of them. Okay, so that's the first step. Okay, so if the total number of items is 100, and they are all calculators, then how much is all the calculators? Then you will have to times $24 each, and you will get $2,400, which is the wrong total. And that's why you will need to have another total. You have two totals when you do assumption, the total number of items and also the correct total amounts of money, right? To compare with this wrong total, right? This is a wrong total money. Okay, now how to make the method easier for many students to apply. So it's better to have some visual, right? Some visual drawing, right? When you have some visual drawing, it makes everything a little easier. So I will tell my students that there is a leaf, okay, a leaf. Okay, a HDB flat. So in this HDB flat, there's a leaf. And you can see that the wrong total is bigger. So you put the wrong total higher and the correct total is smaller. So you just put a bit lower, which is $2,130. And of course, you have the ground floor. The ground floor is zero, right? Nothing, zero. Okay, so you're at the wrong level. So every time you assume, right, you are always at the wrong level. So you are at this level. Okay, you're at $2,400 and you need to go down. you need to go down to the correct floor. So how many levels must you go down? Okay, so you take $2,400 and you minus $2,130 and you will get, okay, let me just use my calculator. So 2,400 minus $2,130, you have to go down 270 levels. Okay, so you have to go down $270. Okay, now how to go down? All right, it is not true that all are calculators, right? So there'll be some pencil boxes as well. So you're going to replace a calculator with a pencil box. And this is a part where students get a little bit lost. But when you have the leaf, right, it will help you to understand more clearly. So if you replace one calculator with one pencil box, so do you pay more money or do you pay less money? Well, you just look at the leaf. The leaf is coming down. And when you come down, it's getting lesser money. So you are paying less money. All right, that's why you have a visual drawing to help you to understand what to do. So when you replace a calculator with a pencil box, you pay less money because the leaf is coming down. Okay, then the question is, how much less money do you pay? All right, there is another drawing which I will show my students, which is a travelator. Okay, in the Changi Airport, there's a travelator. All right, so on this travelator, you have the pencil box. Okay, so you have the pencil box, which I will put over here. So how much is one pencil box, which is $15, and you have one calculator. And how much is this calculator, which is $24. So because you assume, right? You assume, so you're always at the wrong place. So you are over here. So you need to move to the correct place. So how do you move? You move backwards. So when you move backwards, you have to minus. So you minus how much to get $15? You take 24 and you have to minus $9 to get 15, right? To get $15. So what does it tell you? It tells you that when you replace a calculator, okay, when you replace a calculator with a pencil box, okay, with a pencil box, you pay less money. And how much do you pay? You pay $9 lesser. So now you know how much lesser already. So you can go to the leaf, the HDB flats, and you can put down $9 lesser. See? So when you do assumption method, how to better understand and how to apply this method is to have some drawing to help you to understand so that you don't get confused. So every time you replace a calculator, what happened to the leaf? The leaf will go down 9 floors, okay, $9 lesser. So you're getting nearer to the correct total. So how many times must you replace the calculators? So you take $270, all right, because you need to go down $270, and you divide by $9, and you will have to press the leave button. Okay, you have to press the leave button 30 times. So which means that you have to replace 30 calculators with 30 pencil boxes. So how many pencil boxes did she buy? And that's how you get 30, right? 30. So you can see that it's not a very hard method to learn, not a very hard method to use. Many students, they told me that it's hard to use. It's hard to use because they do not really understand how to use and how to apply. And the worst thing is they memorize the steps. Like you can see that if you look carefully at my steps, they memorize the first step, which is to times, then later minus, and then divide. So they learn to memorize. And when you do that, it's very dangerous because it doesn't apply to all questions for assumption. Like if you see the next question, you will find that if you do like that, you're going to get into trouble, right? But if you draw the leaf and the travelator, it applies to all questions when you do assumption. So let's look at question number 2, and you will understand what I mean when we should not memorize the steps. All right, so you should not minus, then you should not times, then minus, then divide. So we don't do the memorizing. And let's look at this question 2, and you will be able to understand why the leaf and the travelator, they are so helpful to help us to understand. Okay, so let's highlight again. And there were 30 questions in a math contest. 3 marks were awarded for every correct answer, and 1 mark was deducted for every wrong answer. Team RGPS scored 70 marks. That is the total marks, okay, total marks. You also have the total number of questions. So how do I know that I can do assumption? There must be clues, right? You need to look out for clues. Like, do you see 2 totals? Do you see the total number of questions? Do you also see the total number of marks? when you see these two totals, you can do assumption. And do you see two kinds of things that you're comparing? Correct answers and wrong answers. So you must have two kinds, right? If there are more than two kinds, then you can't do assumption, right? You must have only two types. So how many questions did Team RGPS answer correctly? Okay, so once I know my method, or once I know what method to use, then I go through the process. So what is the process? The process is to assume. Okay, assume all. Now the word all means total. Okay, total. So which total are you looking at? Are you looking at the 30 questions or are you looking at the total marks? This is again where students get confused. They put down the marks, assume all the marks are, okay, how do you know whether you put the right total or the wrong total? Now, you assume all the marks are what? Do you think the total is all the marks, right? Because I want to write a sentence which is like this: assume all wrong answers. Okay, all are wrong answers, right? Because when we do assumption, we always assume the opposite of what the question wants us to find. The question wants us to find how many questions answered correctly. So we assume the opposite, which is to assume all wrong answers, right? All are wrong. So do we use the total marks, or do we use this total marks, or do we use this total? Now, if you say 70 marks, assume all the marks are wrong, it doesn't make sense. How can marks be wrong, right? So it has to be assume all the questions are wrong, which is 30, not 70, right? So this is a part where students get very confused, or they make a mistake. It's a very common mistake. Their first step is wrong already. They go and take 70 marks times something else, right? So it's supposed to be all the questions. This is all the questions, not all the marks. So assume all the questions are wrong. Okay, so if all the questions are wrong, then what happened? You have to times 1, right? Because 1 mark was deducted for every wrong answer. So you times 1, you have 30. But this 30 is not given to you. It's taken away from you. So you have to minus 30. So it means that you own money, right? You own some people money. So you don't have, it is bad enough to have no money. But when you own people money, it's worse than having no money. So this is something like that. So you have a minus 30, right? You own people money, all right? Which is worse than having no money, which is 0. Okay, so you assume all the questions are wrong. So you minus 30 marks. Okay, now, then the leaf, right? Remember the leaf? The leaf will be very helpful. So there's a HDB flat, which I will always draw. And where's the wrong total? The wrong total is minus 30. So you actually have a negative, right? You minus 30 because you answer all wrongly, which is not true. And the correct total is 70. Okay, 70. Okay, 70, right? So you can see the first step. The first step is times, right? Like what you saw just, if you memorize your steps, right? You find that the first step is times. And then how about then what do you do? Then how about the second step? What do you do? Now you're at the wrong level, right? So when you have the leaf, you're always at the wrong level. So you need to go up to the correct level. So how do you go up to the correct level? There is a ground level, right? You're underground. Your minus 30 is like underground. So you will need to go up to the ground level, which is 30 floors, right? 30 floors or 30 marks. And then you must go up another 70 floors, right? 70 floors. All right, so you have to go up another 70 levels or 70 marks. And altogether, how many floors must you travel up? You have to travel up, okay, you have to travel up 100, okay, 100 floors. So 70 plus 30, right? 70 plus 30, you will get 100 floors. So you have to go up 100 floors. Am I correct? Yeah, 100 floors. Okay, maybe let me just try a bit nicely lah. Okay, let me just try a bit nicer. So from the wrong level, you have to climb up 100. Okay, 100 floors. Okay, 100. Okay, now if you go back to the first question, and if you memorize, okay, if you memorize your steps, your first step is times, then later minus. Okay, then you go to question 2, and then you minus. You take 70 minus, right? You take 70 minus 30, you get 40. And this is wrong already. This step is wrong already, right? You can see that it's not very good to memorize a step if you don't understand what you're doing. So you have to draw the leaf, and you find that you actually have a difference. Okay, there's a difference of 100. So So how to get 100? You just take 70 plus 30 by looking at the leaf. Okay, 70 plus 30, you have to climb up 100 floors. Okay, yeah, so don't memorize the steps, but understand, all right? Understand the leaf, and then there's a travelator, right? Because it's not true that all the answers are wrong, right? It's not true that all the answers are wrong. So you have to replace a wrong answer with a correct answer. So every time you replace a wrong answer with a correct answer, do you get more marks or less marks? Well, you don't have to think very hard. The leaf is going up. So when the leaf is going up, you should be getting more marks. Okay, plus, right? So you have to plus because you're getting more marks. Then the question is, how many more marks do you get if you replace a wrong answer with a correct answer? So you have a travelator. See, you always have the leaf and the travelator. So what do we put on the travelator? We put the wrong answer and the correct answer. So if you have a wrong answer, you minus 1. If you have a correct answer, you have to plus 3, right? Plus. So again, you are at the wrong place. So where are you? You are over here because you assume they all are wrong, right? Okay, so on this number line, there has to be a 0. Okay, there's a 0 as well. So when you replace a wrong answer with a correct answer, you move how many forward? How many marks do you move when you replace a wrong answer with a correct answer? So from minus 1 to 0, you have to plus 1. And then from 0 to 3, you have to add 3 more. So in total, how many do you add? You have to plus 4. So when you replace a wrong answer with a correct answer, what happens? You have to add 4 more marks. Okay? So when you replace a wrong answer with a correct answer, you have 4 more marks, and the leaf goes a little higher. Okay, so how many times must I replace? So how many wrong answers must I replace? So I take 100 floors because my leaf has to go up 100 marks, 100 levels, and I divide by 4, right? And you have to replace how many wrong answers with correct answers, right? You have to replace 100 divided by 4, you have to replace how many? So you have to replace 25, okay? 25 wrong answers with 25 correct answers. And that's how you solve the problem. Okay, you can see that the problem is solved easily if you understand the leaf and the travelator. So you have to replace 25 wrong answers with 25 correct answers. So which means that the team must have answered 25 questions correctly. And that's how you solve it. Okay, so we don't memorize the steps because it's a little dangerous, right? Because this is a harder question. Why is it a harder question? Because there is a negative number, right? There is a deduction of marks. So that's why it's not so straightforward, right? So if you understand this method, you find that when you go to P6, when you start to apply the assumption method, it's the same, right? The process is the same, right? But just have to remember, you can only do assumption when there are 2 kinds of things to compare. You can only, if you have 3 kinds of things, then you will have to remove one of them so that you only have 2 kinds to compare. So now you can see the assumption is not really very hard to apply, to understand and to apply. Okay, so the question is, what happened in the exam if I forget how to do assumption? Will there be a backup method? There is a backup method. So I'm going to show you the backup method. All right, so this backup method, we can use guess and check, right, which is very common in the lower primary levels. So let's use the guess and check method for question number 3. So let's read. Kavita bought 28 mangoes and pomelos, which is the total number. Each mango costs $3 and each pomelo costs $5. She paid a total of $118 for all the fruits. So how many pomelos did she buy? So once again, you can see that there is a total number of fruits and there is a total amount of money. So you have 2 totals. So when you have 2 totals, that's the clue, right? The clue that you can use assumption, right? Okay, and also of course you must know how much is 1 mango and how much is 1 pomelo, right? All these are signs that tells you that you can use the method. So if I'm using guess and check, then I have to draw a big table. Okay, a big table like primary 3, right? Again, there's a process. When you use the method, you have a rectangle and you cut 1 row. Okay, don't cut many rows, just cut 1 row, cut 1 column and label. So label as you are cutting. So don't have too many rows and columns because you may waste the space. So we only cut as we need. Like for example, we cut the first column, we label. So let's call it mangoes. How many mangoes? And then we cut another column because we need one more. So how much is the mangoes? Then we cut one more column, which is the pomelos. And how much is the pomelos? Okay. And then there are two important numbers or two important columns that we must have, which is the total number of fruits. Okay, total number of fruits and total money. Okay, total amounts of money. And the last column is your yes and no, tick and cross. So this is what you should have done or should have learned when you do guess and check, right? You have a table, rows and columns. Okay, and before we start to guess, you need to put two important numbers on the table: the total number of fruits and the total number or total amounts of money. So put these numbers on the table because you're going to compare, right? Compare to see whether your guess is correct or wrong. Okay, now the first guess is a clever guess. So we don't randomly guess. All right, even though it's a called guess and check, but we don't randomly guess. We actually use intelligent guesses. We use a clever guess. And how do we have a clever guess? We take the total number of fruits and we divide into half. So which means that you take 28 fruits and you divide into half, you will get 14 mangoes and 14 pomelos. Okay, and then how much is 14 mangoes? So 14 times $3. So 14 times $3, that will be 42. So if you are primary 5 or primary 6, then you can use a calculator to work out, right? Pomelos will be, one pomelo costs $5. So you have 14 times $5. So 14 times $5, that will be 70. So when you plus the money together, you will get $112, which is the wrong guess. Okay, the wrong guess. And so what do? You have to increase, right? Increase the mangoes or you increase the pomelos. So the second guess onwards is also a clever guess. So do you want to increase the mangoes or you want to increase the pomelos? So you look at your wrong total, right? Your wrong total amounts of money. So it is smaller than the right total, right? Smaller than the right total money. So which means that I must what? I have to increase the pomelos because they cost more, right? I have to increase the pomelos so that my total money can increase as well. So I increase the pomelos. Why? Because they are more expensive. Okay, this is how you guess, right? How you have a clever guess, right? The first guess is to take the total number of fruits and divide by 2. And then the second guess is to increase the pomelos. Why do you want to increase? Because your total money here is lesser. So you want to increase the fruits which are more expensive so that your total money can increase as well. Okay, so let's draw another row. Okay, and so how many shall we increase? So maybe, and you can see the $112 is quite near to $118. So you don't want to increase by too many. So maybe let's increase by 16. Okay, so we don't want to have too many pomelos. And then this one will be 12 because 12 plus 16 will be 28, right? Okay, so how much is 12 mangoes? So 12 times 3. 12 times 3 will be $36. And how much is 12 mangoes? 12 times 3, 36. And 16 pomelos will be 16 times 5. 16 times 5 will be $80. And you plus the money together, that will be $116, right? And it's still a wrong guess, but you can see the total, right? The total is getting closer to the right total. So which means that you are on the right track. You should be increasing the pomelos, right? You should be increasing the pomelos and not the mangoes. Okay, so let's have one more row. And this time, because the wrong total is very near to the right total, so I just put 17. Okay, increase the pomelos by 1. And the total is 28. So minus 17, I will get 11 mangoes. So 11 mangoes times $3, that will be $33. 17 pomelos. So 17 times 5, That will give me $85. And what is the correct total? You take 33 plus 85, and the correct total is $118. And that is a correct guess. So you can see that, this is guess and check. So what happened if I forget how to do assumption? Then you have a backup. The backup is over here, guess and check. Okay, but you can find that guess and check can also be quite tedious because you may have more than 3 rows. You may have more than 3 guesses. So it is a little time consuming. So is there something else which is better than guess and check? Yeah, there is. All right, there is something else which is better. And I would like to call it the 3 rows get the answer. So you have a third method, right? There's a third method which I will prefer than using guess and check. And I will call it 3 rows get the answer. Why? Because you just need 3 rows to get the answer. Right now, in this guess and check, you can see that we have 3 rows now. We use 3 rows to get the answer, but sometimes you find that you may need more than 3 rows. Sometimes for guess and check, even 5 rows, 6 rows, and still can't get the answer. Okay, so let's use the 3 rows get the answer, and let's see how it works. Okay, so if you forget how to do assumption, then the second thing that comes to your mind is 3 rows get the answer. All right, so a total of 38 children were at a party. At the party, each boy ate 7 chicken wings, each girl ate 5 chicken wings. The children ate a total of 256 chicken wings. How many boys at the party? So again, you can see that in all these 4 questions, there is a similarity. What is a similarity? There is always a total, right? A total number of children. You can see there's always a total number of children. There's a total number, and there's also another total in all the 4 questions. So when you want to do an assumption, you look out for these 2 totals. Because if you don't have, then you find that you can't do assumption. And you also have two kinds of things. You have the boys and the girls to compare. Okay. All right. So how to use the 3 rows get the answer? So same thing, similar to a guess and check table. You have a rectangular table. Okay, rectangular table. And then you cut 1 row, similar to guess and check. Okay, 1 row. And of course, you label like guess and check. You still label. So you have the boys. How many boys are there altogether? And then how many chicken wings eaten by the boys? And then how many girls? And then how many chicken wings eaten by the girls? And then you have the total number of children, right? Total children. And then you also have the total chicken wings. And there's no tick and cross, right? We don't have to put a tick and cross because you are not guessing. All right, so you can see every method there's a process. If you are doing guess and check or 3 rows get the answer, draw a table, right? There's a process. Draw a table and then cut 3 rows because that's the name of the method. 3 rows get the answer, right? Okay, now this 3 rows get the answer is very unique. Like guess and check, you take the total and divide by 2. But for this method, it's different. What do? We start with 1. We start with 1 boy or 1 girl. So we start with 1 boy. It can also be 1 girl. So you always start with 1. Okay, one boy or 1 girl. And the total children, there are 38 children, right? 38. Okay, let me just put 38 here. And the total chicken wing is 256, right? Okay. Okay. So if there are 38 children, there must be 37 girls. And 1 boy ate 7. So 1 times 7. 37 girls will be 37 times 5, right? 37 times 5, you get 185 chicken wings. And how many chicken wings eaten altogether? You take 185 plus 7, that'll be 192 chicken wings altogether, which is the wrong total, right? Okay, that's the first row. Now the second row, you just put 2, right? So now you have 2 boys. And if there are 2 boys, then 38 children minus 2 boys, that will give you 36 girls. And if there are 2 boys, then 2 times 7, 14 chicken wings, and 36 girls will be 36 times 5, That will be 180 chicken wings. So what is the total number of chicken wings eaten? So you take 180 plus 14, that will be 194 chicken wings eaten altogether. So the first two rows, of course, they are wrong. But why do we have the first two rows? Why? It's to find a pattern. So this method uses a pattern, right? Uses a pattern to help you to find the answer faster. So what is the pattern? Now, the pattern is when you increase one boy, how many more chicken wings added? You will have 2 more chicken wings added. So that is a pattern. All right, and this method can also be used for those pattern problems. All right, pattern problems, we will do the same thing as well. Okay, now third row must get the answer already. So you jump straight to the correct total. And how many more chicken wings added? So you take 256 and you minus 194. And you need to increase by another 62 chicken wings, right? So if there are 62 more chicken wings added, then how many boys added? So if you increase one boy, you have 2 more chicken wings. I have 62 more chicken wings, so how many boys do I increase? I take 62 and divide by 2. I have to increase by 31 more boys. So I have to increase 31 more boys. So if there are 31 more boys, then how many boys at the party? So 31 plus 2, I will have 33. Okay, 33 boys, wow, which is a lot of boys. And and how many girls at the party? So there must be 5 girls at the party, right? Now, how do you check whether your answer is correct? So we can check. So if there are 33 boys, then how many chicken wings eaten by all the boys? 33 times 7, that'll be 231 chicken wings eaten by the boys. If there are 5 girls, then you have 5 times 5. Right, 1 girl ate 5 chicken wings. So 5 times 5 will be 25. And the total children is still 38. And if you take 33, if you take the chicken wings, which is 231 plus 25 chicken wings, do you get the correct total? 231 plus 25, you will still get the correct total, which is 256 chicken wings eaten altogether. So which means that your answer is correct. And what is the answer? How many boys were at the party? So your answer must be here. There are 33 boys at the party. So you can see that there is another more efficient way to work out the answer as compared to guess and check. So these 3 rows get the answer uses a pattern. So we use this method when we want to find a pattern. Okay, so what is the whole idea about this short lesson? Now, this is actually a workshop already, right? Whatever I want to talk about in the workshop will all be covered inside this short lesson. So how to do assumption method, right? We talk about that, the leaf and the travelator, right? If you understand the leaf and the travelator, you find that assumption method can be very easy to use. But if I forget how to do assumption, how to use assumption, then I can use guess and check, or I can use the 3 rows get the answer. So that is my backup plan, right? Okay, so we come to the end of the 4 problems, and so it's a short lesson, right? It's a very short lesson, but hopefully at the end of the short lesson, you are more confident, right? You are more confident to know how to use the assumption method, right? The first choice of your methods is assumption method because it's faster, it's the fastest, right? It's the most effective way to get the answer very fast, all right? Then the second method that will use a bit more time will be your 3 rows get the answer, and then your what? Then the guess and check will be the method that will take the longest time. So we always want to choose something that is efficient, right? That will help us to solve a bit faster and to have less thinking, right? Less thinking process. So be aware of all these methods, okay? All right, so all right, any questions? Okay. Right, so we come to the end of this very short lesson, supposed to be 1 hour lesson. Okay, so if there's no question, all right, then I think we can end the lesson. All right, so yeah, so in the next coming Zoom live, what do we do? Now, what methods do we look at? Now, we will look at something else. So far, we have talked about model drawing, we talk about tabulation method, table method. Now we are looking at assumption method. So in the next live, the Zoom live lesson, I will talk about some other methods which are very common, right? Methods like grouping, right? Grouping, meet one group, right? How to meet one group so that you can know how many groups. That is also a method. We will also talk about methods like systematic listing, right? Access and shortage, systematic listing. So if you understand these methods, and you'll find that when you do your paper 2, it's not hard to score. It's actually quite easy to score. Yep. Okay. All right. So if there are no questions, right? No questions, then okay, then we will just end the lesson. All right, end the lesson, and then we will continue our live lesson on next Friday, right? Next Friday at 8 p.m. All right. Okay, so we will see you the next Friday. Okay. All right. Goodbye.